second is to satisfy the federal court order establishing present system with 7 single member districts and 2 super districts with a supermajority, 77% or greater of African American voters in 7 of the 13 council districts. You also have to maintain compactness and contiguousness, meaning they all have to touch, they all have to be kind of somewhat compact, so you're not running all over the world campaigning and people have some far reaching out, with the exception of Morrison, who has ease on the everybody else is pretty cohesive. And the objective is always to make as few moves as possible to avoid changing historical council single district representatives of the voters. And this is a consideration must, however, yield to the 2 above, which is the constitutional requirement and the supermajority. I have to remind you that the most important objective is to have a legal election. If we don't do this, we just can't sit pat, as I will show you in a minute. You will not have constitutionally compliant districts. You could have an election and then it could be declared invalid and you'd have to do it all over. So our concern first and foremost is to make sure we have a constitutionally compliant election. Also, remember, redistricting is required under the Voting Rights Act as well, and it's for the benefit of the voters now. So we have to be more concerned with those issues. Now, if you turn the page, you can kind of get a taste of what the difficulty is, because there are approximately 400 precincts in the system. That comprises 12,000 census points. In the past 6 months, what do you mean?
Just talking Jerome.
In the past 6 months, the Election Commission has consolidated over 114 precincts. Now, I understand they have been communicating with you all about that. What that does, let me give you an example. Under our ordinance, we may have in District 3, for example, a series of precincts that we have assigned census data to. When the Election Commission comes in and combines those into one district, then that means some pieces of that district may be in District 3 and some may be in District 2. And so when you try to identify what you're moving parts of pieces. You don't have a puzzle piece, you got pieces of puzzle pieces. Okay? So that is compounding the task of trying to figure out what goes where. Presently, there are over 217 split precincts in Shelby County. And the 2 we just added were not part of the city. We annexed them. They are part of larger precincts in Shelby County. I think they're District 4 for the County Commission. So what we have to do is take the County Commission's data, which might say in that precinct there are 5,000 voters, 5,000 residents. And then we have to apportion pieces of that 5,000 as to what goes in the city and what goes in the county. And that means you have to drill deeper and look at about 1,000 or more census blocks and try to match them up with these areas. So it is not like just snapping your finger doing this job. This is very difficult. Now, our task was compounded further because I told you we started in May. Terry Langlois, who had been my contact and the person that helped structure all of this with all the census data, he retired from OED. We don't have anybody to replace his institutional knowledge. So I've been having to dig deep into his files to try to pull this all together. In 2011, we identified 29 split precincts in the city, and over half of these are in District 2. So, District 2. All right, now the last sheet is what I want you to focus on, and this is on a high level of where we have to go from here. Now, if you look at the top part, current 2011 redistricting, you'll see all those numbers are the same as I gave you in the prior memo. You have pretty much equality not only within the districts but within the super districts. And if you notice the percentage to median, there is no district that is more than 105% of the median or less than 95% of the median. Now, if you look below, current in 2015, you will notice that District 2 has gone from 93,696 to 108,145. That's because we added 14,000 people from the annexation of Southwind, Windike, and South Cordova. As a result, District 2 is now greater than 105%, and it also looks like that District 3 is under 95%. Okay, if you don't have that, I'll make sure you do, don't you?
This is different than what you have.
The copy.
I don't get that. Get it right there. You don't need to just on it right here. Oh. Okay, I got it.
All right, and then you'll notice that instead of there being less than 1 percentage between 8 and 9, there is now 5 percentage points because 14,000 in Southwind, Windike, and South Cordova was added to District 9. So the function of redistricting now is to equalize these districts again by requiring that precincts be shedded from District 2. That's the only place. You've got to take them out. You can't leave them there. You cannot do it. So the function is, how do we reduce District 2 and ideally enlarge District 3? Because those are your two offending precincts at this point. Now, there are a number of different possibilities. I'm working through that now, and I will, as I always do, have a session with each of you to give you some of the options and my recommendations before we make the last presentation.
You gotta do something.
If you go back to the second sheet, I want to show you a couple of concerns.
What is this?
This one. If you look at the numbers at the bottom, these are numbers from the Election Commission's registered voter statistics by district.
Which page are you on now?
This page right here.
Okay. All right.
Second handout, second page.
Thank you.
All right, if you notice, one of the flaws in their numbers is there is a substantial contingent of what they call other voters. You can't really get a feel for what's what, but if you just take the people who are black and proud and willing to say, I'm black, if you take that number in District 3, you can see there is a drop-off between the percentage of the people that are black registered voters and those that are 18 plus and eligible to vote. The concern is that if you look in 3, 4, and 7, even though they have substantial supermajorities by census, their percentages are not that substantial